Welcome to Capitalize Your Finances, the podcast that's your ultimate guide to mastering personal finances and unlocking the secrets of entrepreneurship. Each week, we dive into the world of personal finance and business development and have fascinating conversations with industry experts, seasoned entrepreneurs, and thought leaders who share their insights, strategies, and stories to help you get ahead in life. Whether you're a seasoned entrepreneur looking to scale your business or someone just starting out on your financial path, this podcast is your go-to resource for inspiration and actionable insights.
Welcome back to Capitalize Your Finances. As always, I'm your host, Christopher A. Panayiotou, certified financial planning professional, the Cap in Capitalize. And on today's episode, I'm going to get into setting financial goals for 2026. Now, before we do so, and I'm very excited about today's episode, the free advice for the week. Never underestimate the power of saving on taxes not paid. Now we're going to get into the crux of the matter. Kick this year off right, the year of our Lord and Savior 2026. And so what I wanted to do is lay out a clear step-by-step process to help you create realistic and actionable financial goals for 2026. So the first thing I want you to do before we get into 2026 is step one, reflect on 2025. So before you set new goals, you want to look back and ask yourself a couple questions. In no particular order, what worked financially in 2025? What setbacks did you have? Did you pay off any debts? Did you grow your savings? Did you increase your income? Now, why would we do any of this? Why would we reflect before we jump into 2026? Because again, when the year's done, right? Not really. Reflection will help you set goals based on your real life experiences, not just wishful thinking. And I can tell you, I do this for myself at the end of every single year. And it's really valuable. Now, I'm a little extreme. I actually grade myself on how well I did every year, and I'm pretty hard on myself. I'm not saying you have to do so, but by actively thinking about what you did over the coming year, it will propel you into, in this case, 2026, to become a much better future self. Now, the second step I want you to take is I want you to define what you want to achieve. And how you go about it is, I would think in categories. So I would think about achieving things with savings, which is like an emergency fund, a house down payment, maybe a vacation. Debt, so paying off credit cards, student loans, car loans, high interest loans. Income, maybe getting a raise, starting a side hustle, maybe just starting a business altogether. Spending, so creating a budget, reducing unnecessary expenses. Investing, this is a big one, and it gets people really excited because you're jumping in and you're buying pieces of businesses or real estate, things of that nature, the sexy stuff. So, but with investing, you could think about just starting, because a lot of people just don't, and the best place to start is at ground zero and just get going. Or if you already are saving and investing, saving, they can be synonymous, but I'm keeping them separate right now. If you already are investing, maybe your goal is to increase your contributions to your 401k or your IRA or your Roth IRA or just your investment account. And another one you can think of, and there's a ton, but these are some of the big ones that I thought of when I was writing this episode, is credit. So just improving your credit score or fixing issues that you have. So ask yourself, what would make you feel financially proud by the end of 2026? And then work backwards from there. Once you have that dialed in, the third step I would think would be valuable for you is making SMART goals. And SMART is it's an acronym. And normally I'm not a huge acronym guy, but this one is pretty valuable. So SMART. So specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. So specific, what exactly do you want to do? Get very concrete. When it comes to finances in your personal, well, your personal wealth, it should be, for those goals, very black and white. Very, very black and white. Measurable. Can you track it? When it comes to money, yes, you can track everything for the most part. Achievable. Is it realistic based on your income or lifestyle? If I was in your shoes, and let me preface this. So in my 20s, I gave myself, completely, looking back on it, unrealistic goals. And I actually beat myself up about this a lot. Looking back, I'm really glad I did it, because instead of giving myself a goal for a decade, I would give myself a goal for like a year or 2 or 3. And it didn't take me a year or 2 or 3. It took me, some cases, 4 or 5. But again, looking backwards, I'm really glad I did that, because I pushed myself and pushed myself and pushed myself, and I got it done in 5 years versus 10 years. And I think that's really valuable for you. Now, as time goes on, there comes a point when your money starts to compound and work for you, where I don't want to say you can take your foot off the gas, but you start to put that effort into other things. But if you are just starting out, make it unrealistic. Really push yourself and get in your mind. Get in your mind about it. I'll say it. Beat yourself up if you need to. Give yourself tough love. In terms of relevancy, does it align with your bigger life goals? So a lot of people, when when it comes to money, they're setting these goals, and they're setting it just because they're hitting a benchmark and they think that benchmark will give them happiness. And more often than not, that's not the case. So you got to ask yourself, does this align with me? And then time bound, can you achieve it by the end of 2026? Now, I just mentioned, going back to, is it achievable? You want to give yourself unrealistic goals. What I would do, though, is you're not just going to give yourself one financial goal. I would give a couple, and I would rate them. I would give one where you look and go, look, I'm going to have to do the work, but it's going to be pretty easy for me to get done this year. And then I would give yourself a goal where it's more difficult, but it's not like you're going to have to burn the candle from both ends to get there. It's just, you're going to have to work for it, decently hard. And then that last one, go unrealistic, because your future self will thank you for it. But, you should have something that you should achieve. You don't want to beat yourself up too much where you get to the end of the year and you give yourself a 0 because you didn't accomplish anything that you wanted to set out. There's a balancing act there. So just some easy examples. Save more money. Okay, that's not good enough. Get more concrete. Save $5,000 for an emergency fund by December 20th of 2026. Something concrete. Here's one that's not great. Pay off debt. Okay, no. Let's elevate that. Let's pay off $7,000 of high interest credit card debt by November 15th of 2026. And then the last one that I see all the time is start investing. No. That's fine, but do better with that. Expand on it. Start investing $100 a month in a Roth IRA starting January 15th, 2026. Give yourself deadlines and be concrete with it. So we're going to take a quick commercial break. Then when we come back, we're going to keep going down the rabbit hole of setting financial goals for 2026. So don't go anywhere. Stick around.
Are you ready to transform the way you approach sales? This episode is sponsored by the second book in the Capitalize series, Capitalize Your Sales, the all-in-one sales framework that saves you from ever struggling again and teaches you how to sell with sincerity, which dives deep into the art and science of driving sustainable growth. Packed with strategies that go beyond surface-level techniques, This book will help you understand what it takes to truly connect with clients, build long-term relationships, and close deals. Whether you're looking to fine-tune your sales craft or break through to the next level, Capitalize Your Sales offers a roadmap to success designed for today's fast-paced business world. Head on over to your favorite bookstore, order today, and start capitalizing your sales immediately. And now, back to the episode.
Welcome back from the commercial break. We're going to get right back into setting financial goals for 2026 with step number 4, breaking down goals into milestones. These goals, it's funny because a lot of people think that some financial goals are bigger than others. I could make the argument that every financial goal is a big goal because for you, you're setting them because you're not there yet. And when you do get there, that's a big deal for you. With that understanding, big goals can feel overwhelming, in some cases, incredibly overwhelming. And so what I like to do is I like to divide them into quarterly or monthly targets. So I'll give you an example. So instead of saving $6,000 by December 20th of 2026, break it down. Say, hey, I want to save $500 a month, which will get me to that goal, or $125 a week, like whatever is easiest for you. But by breaking it down into those smaller milestones, by breaking down the goal, the larger goal into smaller milestones, you can actually compound your wins. And when you're compounding your wins, you can get that much more excited. You can get that much more motivated, inspired to hit that big goal. And then what's going to happen is you're going to be kind of addicted to winning. And to a certain degree, that's not a bad thing. And in fact, that's a really good thing. Don't make it your everything, but when you're starting out at ground zero, you should be obsessed with it. Borderline unhealthy. Your future self will thank you later. Now, the 5th step I want you to take is build a system, not just a goal. And systems are one of those things. I mean, it sounds really corporate-y. We need to set up systems and processes and procedures, but it's true. You want to have your personal finances systematized to a degree. Notice how I didn't say completely automated. You want to have an active understanding of your money, but you do want things to get into a rhythm. So with your budget, once you get to that budget and you understand your budget, you want to systematize it where you know that you're living within your means, you're living within your alignment of your life goals. And once you do so, it helps you get to that goal. Automating, like I said, it's valuable. It's immensely valuable. But you don't want to get so automated where you forget where everything is going and you forget how you got there. You know, there's something going on in our industry right now where, and I've said this in the past and I've gotten some slack for it, and not that I really care, but it's true. Most advisors and most financial planners don't actually plan. They don't. I would go a further step to say most financial planners don't know, not only do they not know how to plan, they are using so much fintech and financial technology and AI that it's just like putting Band-Aids on the wound, Band-Aids on Band-Aids on Band-Aids. And then when you peel back the layers, let's say the system doesn't work, a lot of these people don't actually know what they're doing. It's really, really, really sad. And so for you, I don't want you to get into that same habit and that same feeling where you just keep automating and automating and automating. And then you pull back the layers and you forgot how you even got to where you're at in the first place. So, but in terms of surface level automation, set up those automatic transfers to savings or debts or 401k or your retirement accounts. But again, every month, understand how the system is working. And then tracking it. So there's a ton ton of information out there that you can use. You can go old school. You can use paper. You could get a little bit more clunky and use Excel. You could use our net worth app available on capitalizedpodcast.com, where it tracks your net worth on an ongoing basis. You can tweak it as you go, which is really, really cool. You could create your own if you wanted to. You could journal it. I mean, whatever you need to do, you want to systematize things with an active engagement with your money, and tracking it is very, very valuable. Now, the sixth step is reviewing and adjusting regularly. Life changes, period. And so because of that, your goals might change. And I say this because I don't want you to get in this habit of you set these goals in January and then you stick to it, but then your life starts to change and your goals don't change with it when they should. And then you're trying to stick this square peg in a round hole, and it's actually counterproductive. So what I would do is I would revisit your goals quarterly. And there would be a couple things that I would ask. One, are you on track? And then two, do I need to adjust the amount of the amount, the timeline, the strategy in general? And if I do, how will that affect me in other areas of my financial life? Now, I'm a little extreme. I actually look at my New Year's resolutions and goals every Sunday morning when the family's still asleep and I'm up. And I set a 5-minute timer and I just read them. And, for me, I set up personal goals in sections. So I have financial goals, personal finance goals. Actually, let me go in the most important order for me. Personally, so just within me, who I am, my business, my brand, my health, and personal finance. I will say, and I'm just going to kind of give myself credit here, I've done this long enough where the personal financial side of things becomes habit for me. And I'm very thankful that I've gotten to the point where I can put my money where my mouth is, and my money is serving our family. Like, our money is serving our family. We're not serving the money. But I can tell you, things change all the time for me, all the time, sometimes daily. It's funny because people ask, well, what's an average day like for you? I'm like, dude, I don't even know how to answer that. There's no such thing as average. None. Zero, nada, zilch. With the exception of during the football season in the fall, every Saturday and occasional Friday nights, I'm watching my Oregon Duck football team. But that is the only regularity in my life. So going back to reviewing and adjusting regularly, you could do it more often. You could do monthly. I don't want you to get too obsessed with it. Quarterly is a great place to start. So the pro tip. So now that you've got all this information, you're like, okay, Chris, what do I do with it? I would set 1 to 2 goals per category. And here's just a sample of 2026, like a sample 2026 financial goal set for you to copy off of. Okay. So the categories: savings. So a great goal would be $3,000 in an emergency fund. Debt, and really pay attention to the category side of things. And then you can change the examples to whatever it is fits your needs. So for debt, pay off $4,500 in credit cards. Income, maybe you need to increase your income by $5,000 with a side hustle or a bonus or a raise or a promotion. Investing, invest $1,200 into a Roth IRA or $100 a month starting in January. Spending, reduce dining out by $150 per month. Some of you, that might hit home a little too hard. And then credit score, raise your score from 670 to 720 by October 13th of 2026. So this hopefully gives you a wonderful layout on how you can set the stage for an amazing 2026. and set yourself up with some incredible financial goals at your fingertips. So that does it for today's episode. As always, I'm your host, Christopher Panayiotou, certified financial planning professional, the Cap and Capitalize. And until next time, keep capitalizing. Take care. As always, thank you for joining me today. If you have questions about today's episode or any personal finance questions, please reach out to me at Cap and Capitalize on Instagram, Chris at capitalizeyourfinances.com, or via our website, capitalizepodcast.com. If you want more Capitalize Your Finances content, head on over to capitalizepodcast.com and check out our blog, free resources, book, and online course. As always, I'm your host, Christopher Panayiotou, certified financial planning professional, the Cap and Capitalize. And until next time, keep capitalizing.
The information provided should not be considered specific tax, legal, or investment advice and is not specific to any individual's personal circumstances. Each taxpayer should seek independent advice from a tax professional based on his or her individual circumstances. These materials are provided for general information and educational purposes based upon publicly available information from sources believed to be reliable. The information in these materials may change at any time and without notice, and its accuracy cannot be guaranteed. There is no guarantee that any investment strategy will meet its stated objective. All investments involve risk, including potential loss of principal. Examples cited are hypothetical, are for illustrative purposes only, are not guaranteed, and subject to potential federal and state law amendments. There is no guarantee that you will achieve the results discussed or illustrated. IRA withdrawals will be taxed at ordinary income rates. Withdrawals prior to age 59 and a half may also be subject to a 10% penalty tax. Roth IRA distributions of principal from a Roth IRA are tax-free. However, any earnings will be taxed at ordinary income rates, and a 10% penalty tax will apply if withdrawn prior to age 59 and a half or within 5 years of the date the Roth IRA was established, whichever is longer. 401k benefits may be subject to change at your employer, the governing pension, or benefit organization's discretion. Christopher Panayiotou is a registered representative with and securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor. Member FINRA SIPC. Capitalize Your Finances LLC is a separate entity from LPL Financial. Capitalize Your Finances is not registered as a broker-dealer or investment advisor. CRPS conferred by College for Financial Planning.